Need a few last minute gifts for the holiday? Well, today I'll show you how you can make some beautiful pieces of jewelry using dollar stores, gems, stones, beads, and diamond wrap. But be careful, you'll go crazy and want to make a ton of these beautiful custom pieces. Luckily, it'll only cost you a few dollars each. I'll show you how coming up next. Recently, one of my very talented viewers, Lisa, sent me some photos of jewelry that she made. She was inspired by a video I did a few years ago on making jewelry with Dollar Tree stones. With that technique, she's come up with some incredible pieces. Look at this. Well, Lisa, you really inspired me to make some more jewelry. So I went back to the dollar store to see what goodies I could come up with to make some new pieces. For most of these pieces, I'll be using a set of jewelry making tools. I'm using round nose pliers, needle nose pliers, and side cutters. You can find this set at Walmart. I got this for about $9. Also from Walmart or any craft store, you can get jewelry wire. I'm using copper wire in gold, 20 gauge, and I'm also using 24 gauge. This is optional, but I'll also be using an assortment of chains, toggles, ribbon clamps, and earring hooks. You can also get sets of these at Walmart or any craft store for just a few dollars each. Now for this first piece I'm making, I found this really pretty gem mesh ribbon in assorted colors, and I'm using this with satin ribbon, then metallic silver ribbon, and a couple of metallic beads. The ribbon and the beads I got from Dollar Tree. Okay, so this is something brand new I saw at Dollar Tree, and I really want to take advantage of it. I think this might make a nice bracelet or maybe a choker. I think I'm going to make a choker for my teenage niece. So I'm going to use this satin ribbon and pair it up with this gem mesh ribbon. And I'll use these ribbon clamps to put the pieces together. These are silver ribbon crimps that I got from Walmart. So I cut a piece of gem mesh at about 12 inches, and I cut a piece of satin ribbon to match the mesh. And the ribbon is just a little bit longer. I'm not sure if I'm going to cut that at the same size yet. Now I'll be using the crimps to put the two pieces together, but I think I want to use some hot glue to tack down the mesh to the ribbon in certain places. I'm just putting a couple of dots on the back of the gems, and I'm using Gorilla Glue sticks. And I'm just tacking that down at the edges and in the middle so that the two pieces stay together, but if you like, you can have the two pieces loose. I was thinking about folding a satin ribbon over the mesh to make a little lip, but I think I'm just going to cut it right here at the edge and finish the edge off with the silver crimp. Now the crimp is open. I'm going to push it all the way down so that the edge of the ribbon is at the back of the crimp, and I want the rough part in the back. Then I'm going to use my needle nose pliers to squeeze the crimp close onto the ribbon. And I'm doing the same thing on the other side, so I'll have two silver pieces on each end. Now next I want to attach this thin silver ribbon to the end of each crimp so that it can be tied around the neck. And if you're using a silver ribbon, make sure it's all thread and does not have glitter in it. You don't want glitter coming off in your hand or whoever you're making this for. I'm going to cut a piece of ribbon about 18 inches for each end. And I'm going to fold that thin ribbon in half. Now to be able to pull this piece of ribbon through the tiny hole at the end of the crimp, I am going to use a piece of wire. I cut a small piece and I'm folding that piece in half. I'm going to make sort of like a needle with this so that I could thread the ribbon through the hole. And I need to use my needle nose pliers to flatten the end of it where I fold it to make it small enough to go through that hole. Now I can slide that ribbon in between the wire and then thread the wire into the hole of the crimp. And I'm going to pull that through until the two halves of the ribbon are equal in length. Okay, so now I think I'd like to embellish the ends of this necklace with these metallic beads. The gemstones in this necklace has a greenish blue, so I think I'm going to use green and blue beads. So I'm going to adjust and straighten out the ribbons, and I'm going to use that same piece of wire, but this time I'm putting both pieces through the wire, and I'm going to pull that wire through the hole of the bead. Then I'm going to push that bead all the way down to the end where it meets the necklace. And I'm going to put another bead at the top part of the ribbon. Now I want to tie a little knot towards the end. And then I'm going to cut and fold the two end pieces with a little hot glue so that they won't fray. And I'll just repeat the same thing on the other end. On the opposite end, I used blue metallic balls. And this is my first little gift for my teenage niece. It's very simple. You can tie it in the back, but it's very lovely. So using that same method, I also decided to make a little bracelet. Instead, this time I used diamond wrap and I used pink satin ribbon, and I cut the pieces at 6 inches instead of 12, and then tie ribbons at 12 inches instead of 18. So for the bracelet, you could tie a bow in the back like the necklace, or you could do something like this where you flip the ends over to the front and do sort of a half knot, and then you can tuck that ball into the loop of the other end and wear it something like this. Cute. I think I'll give her both. For my next piece, I'll be using the same metallic beads again, but I'll also be using these Dollar Tree glass beads. So these beads are really tiny and they have tiny little holes, so I'm using a thinner wire. This is a 24 gauge wire, so the higher the number, the thinner the wire. To fit through the holes of these beads, you'll need something under 20 gauge. So I'm going to start with cutting a piece of wire about 6 inches. And I am using my round nose pliers to grip the wire and wrap it around the tip of the pliers to make a little curl. Then I'm going to grab that curl from the side with the pliers and start twisting it inward onto itself to make a coil. I'm going to twist it about 5 times. So it looks something like this. And then I'm going to tilt the head back a little to straighten out the line below it, like that. Now I want to add some beads to this wire. What you can do is just take out piles of beads and sort of put them in order. Then you can use the tip of your wire to pick up the beads. Just stick the wire through the hole, and as you pick them up, push the bead back behind your hand. And just continue this in whatever pattern or order. I just go straight down the line and pick up beads. So you want to do this till you have about an inch left of wire, and you're going to take that in and curl it under and make a coil on that end. And now you have a string of beads with 2 coils at each end. So what I'm going to do now is sort of make a coil with the beads around the gold coil. I'm going to twist it a few times so that it looks like this. And then I'm going to make a loop in the middle. And then I'm going to coil the other end. So it looks like this, like a little snake design. Now I'm going to make 3 of these all together. And I'm using these to make a beaded bracelet. To keep these pieces together, I'm going to use a thicker piece of wire. I'm using a 20 gauge piece of wire, and I'm cutting that at 12 inches. So taking that thicker piece of wire, I'm going to start with this first piece, and I am going to weave the wire from the center in and out of the wire coil design. So I'm going to go in and out of the beaded wire, and I'm going to go through the center of that gold coil. And when I get to the loop, I'm going to put a bead on this piece. I'm going to use green and blue beads for this also. I'll start with the green first, put that in the center, and then I'm going to continue to weave in and out with the thick wire. And when I get to the end, I'm going to put another bead there at the end, this time a blue bead. Then I'll attach the next 2 pieces, repeating the same process. And making sure I have beads at the very end, and this is what it looks like. So now I'm going to make something to close this up. And this is a pretty thick wire, so I think I'm going to make a simple hook at the end. I'm going to take a pin and just curl the wire around it to make a loop, and then I'm going to curl the wire on the ends around itself a couple of times. And I'm using the needle nose pliers to flatten the wire down, and I'm going to tuck it into the bead. And I'm going to push everything up and go to the other side. Now on the other side, I'm going to make a loop and sort of flatten the wire about a 1/2 inch from the end. And again, I'm going to hold it with my needle nose pliers and just twist the wire around the bottom. And I'll just use my side cutters to cut the excess wire off. I'm going to cut it from the side really close and then sort of curl it in. Now I want to bend the top half of this wire down to make a little hook. Okay, so now I think this one is done. Let's see what it looks like on my wrist. Very nice. It could be done in all different colors and designs. I think it'll be something fun for kids to make too. Now for the following pieces, I am going to be using Dollar Tree glass gems, sea glass, and rocks. In my last jewelry making video, I showed you how to wrap a stone with wire for a pendant. In this video, I'll be showing you a couple of different methods of wire wrapping a stone. But first, I'm going to prepare these pieces to look like something that you would want to hang on a pendant. For this, I'll be using my Your House at Home metallic acrylic paint and clear polish. So you could use any paint you want, any colors, but I poured out a little bronze, gold, blue, yellow, because I want to mix green, silver, and black. And I am going to start by painting the backs of the clear glass gems. With a small size brush, I'm going to put some dots of color. I'm going to start with gold. I'm going to add some dots of blue, a little black. I'm going to kind of start smushing this together a little bit. Add a little bronze, a little more black, and I want to keep turning it over to see what it looks like. And it's starting to get that colored marbleized look. Now this time I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to press this on the paper and smear it a little bit. And if you look at it through the front, it gives you a little veiny, colorful look. This is the back. The front looks a little pretty organic, so I kind of like that see-through, veiny, colored look. It almost looks like a image of a forest or something. Very artsy. Okay, so I'm going to turn that paint side up to dry and continue to paint the rest of my glass stones with different colors. Okay, so I did the same technique on some big and small stones. I want to make a bracelet too. This is what the little stones look like. I'm going to just set these aside to dry, and I'll show you these when they're finished. Now I picked out a couple of nice pieces of Dollar Tree sea glass, and I washed it because it's gets kind of cloudy, so I wanted it to be as clean and clear as possible. And I'm going to try just brushing on a little gold paint in certain areas, and I just want it to have a little shimmery sparkle. So I'm just going to brush this on, and I'm going to sponge it off so it's very light. So I'm just using a sea sponge, and I'm just dabbing all the way around till it's just kind of sparkling with some gold. And I'm also adding a little bit of silver and doing the same thing. I'm going to sponge that off too. So it's making my stone a little more interesting. Give it a little more sparkle. For this one I added a little bronze and gold. And oh yes, you might want to wear gloves when you do this. I also brushed and sponged on some paint on these Dollar Tree rocks. I am using gold and black on this one, and on the black rock I use gold and a little blue and silver, I believe. Okay, so I think I painted all the pieces that I want to use, and I'm going to stick these in the oven, the paint side up, and I'm putting this in the oven because I want to cure them. Curing them just makes the paint more permanent so it doesn't scratch off, and it also makes it dishwasher safe if you wanted to do that. So I'll put these in the oven for 30 minutes at 350. And when they come out of the oven, they're nice and bright and completely dry. The metallic paint is more metallic, and it has a really nice, interesting glow. That definitely makes these inexpensive stones worthy of being put on a pendant. So now I'm ready to wire wrap these stones. But first I'm going to put a clear coating on the back, and for this I'm using clear fingernail polish. It's just to make it more shiny because of the paint on the back. It's a little dull, and the front of the stone, the glass stone, is very shiny. It also gives it an extra protection coating. You don't have to put a coating on the rocks, but I'm going to put a coating on these rocks just to give it a little bit of a shine. For the sea glass, I'll just leave as is. It doesn't need a coating on it. Okay, so all my pieces are completely dry and ready. Since this video is getting kind of lengthy, I decided to break this up into several videos to show you how to wrap each stone. So if you click on the link in the top right, you can go to my step-by-step video that'll show you how to wrap this stone. It's a simple wrap. It is called Wire Wrapping Number 1 Sea Glass. Okay, so this stone was wrapped with 20 gauge wire, and I'm going to use that same wire to make a necklace for it. This wire is thicker than most, so it'll be perfect for a necklace. So I'm going to just measure this around my neck to see where I want the pendant to fall, and then I'll just cut it there. And I left about 1 inch on each side for adding toggles. So I have this bag of toggle clasps, and I think I got this from Walmart. I'm going to just find one that works best for this. These are in different sizes. Okay, so I picked out my toggles, and I'm going to just grab the end of this wire for my necklace and use my round nose pliers, and I'm going to roll the wire around to make a loop. And before I close it up, I'm going to add the toggle. I'm going to hold it in place with my pliers and use my round nose pliers to twist it around. And then I'm going to do the same with the other end. This time I'm going to take more wire. I'll make it easier to twist. And I'll put the round part of the toggle on this end. Then I'll twist that end around the wire. Now I can put my pendant on, and I am all done with my pretty sea glass stone necklace. So the next stone that I wrapped was this Dollar Tree stone that I painted with a gold shimmer, and I call this a cage wrap. If you click on the link above, you can see a step-by-step video on how to create this wrap. It is called Wire Wrapping 2 Stones. I'm just going to hang this from one of these gold chains that I got from Walmart. You can get this for about $2 each. And look how pretty that is. Who would have thought a simple stone could be so beautiful? The next piece I wrapped was this Dollar Tree glass gem that I painted a bronzy gold color. And I'm hanging this one from a rose gold colored necklace. This is also a simple wrap, and it's called Wire Wrapping number 3 Bronze Painted Glass Gem. So click on the link above to see how to create the wrap for this piece. Now for the last pendant that I made, I love this piece. I love how the stone came out, and I love the wrap. The step-by-step video for this wrap is called Wire Wrapping number 4 Painted Glass Gem. And you can click on the link above to see that video. So for this one, I'm also using the necklace that I made. Now I also wanted to make a bracelet and earrings to go with this beautiful necklace. So for my last piece, I did a wire wrapping that will allow me to string the glass stones that I created through a piece of wire. That way I could make a bracelet that I could add beads to, and I wanted to add some pearls in between and create earrings that would match. So click on the link at the top or in the description tab to learn how to make this particular wrap. It is called Wire Wrapping number 5 Double Bell. With 2 loops at each end, you can string bracelets or necklaces or whatever you want with other beads. Okay, so I hope this gave you some great ideas for a few last minute, inexpensive but beautiful gift ideas for Christmas or any occasion. See you next time and have a wonderful holiday. Hey guys, check out my Etsy store where you can get some of the very projects made on this show. And for just a few dollars, you can get instant digital downloads of full color step-by-step instructions with templates for some of your favorite projects. And check out my Amazon page where you can pick up my multi-surface acrylic metallic paint back in stock with 8 beautiful shimmering colors. You can mix millions of colors and create endless home beauty for indoor and outdoor projects. And while you're there, pick up my Book of Elegant Home Crafts Volume 1 with all your favorite projects together in one big beautiful colored step-by-step instruction book. On my Amazon page, you'll see all my favorite crafting tools and supplies used on this show, and you can add them all to your cart for the one-click, fast and easy shopping and delivery convenience of Amazon. I'll be working every day to make crafting fun and easy for you. Follow me at Your House of Home and Your House of Home TV on all social media for extra home, food, and gardening tips.